Isaiah, Big East play is finally here. Can you just talk about that and kind of how long you've been waiting for this game?
Well, I mean, it's kind of like any other game. That's the way you have to prepare yourself, mentally. But I mean, I'm really excited to be in the Big East. I'm very excited to play in this game tomorrow. But I mean, I'm going to treat this like any other game. We need to get this win tomorrow. Keep our streak going.
What do you know about St. John's?
They're very athletic. It's basically it. Very athletic, very tough, very scrappy team. So we need to bring our A game, box them out, and make sure they play half-court offense.
Matt, in your short time here, I don't expect you to know the whole history of the program kind of thing, but do you kind of get a grasp on just how big of a deal it is for Xavier to be in the Big East and now start conference play tomorrow in this conference?
Yeah, definitely. Even though I've only been here a short time, I've been able to learn a lot about, where Xavier started from and, where they've grown, moving from the A10 to the Big East. It's a huge deal for us personally, too. Our team's excited to, continue one journey and sort of start another. And we know that all starts tomorrow and something that everyone's looking forward to. And although, like Isaiah said, we'll treat it like any other game, we'll definitely have a lot of firepower behind us, and effort won't be missing in that game.
Matt, teams tend to think of conference season as a new season. What do you think you guys learned in your non-conference season that you can carry with you into Big East play?
I think one of the biggest things that we learned from the non-conference season is that we can rely on each other. Maybe going in, we thought we knew people's roles, but over the past 12, 13 games, whatever it's been, we've all been able to learn that we're a really good team overall, and that you can lean on a guy next to you and know that they'll pick you up when maybe you're having a down game, or you'll pick them up when they're having a down game. And for us, that's been huge for us. We've all sort of found our roles, and that's something that a lot of teams take a lot more games to do. And if we can keep with it and keep doing what we're doing, then we'll be okay.
Can you speak to the evolution of the front court specifically? I mean, you're a player of the week right now, and Isaiah's really been crashing the offensive glass, and you just have so many different weapons in there to present threats to other teams.
Yeah, the front court's been very successful, and a lot of that credit, it sounds cliche, but a lot of the credit goes to the guards. We get a lot of one-on-one coverage, or when we do get doubled, we kick it out, we make the right choices. But they're having to double us because we're good players, but why we get a lot of one-on-one coverage is because of the guards. Miles Davis can shoot, Samaj Christian can drive, D. Davis can drive and dish, Justin Martin's a big body who can post up. A lot of our success comes from the fact that we have great perimeter players. And we sort of stepped up into that role, and it's been it's not the easiest thing for a big guy to be extremely successful and be like offensive threat. But all of us have stepped up to that challenge. James Farr has been huge for us. He's been I wouldn't say a surprise, because a lot of our teammates expected him to be really good, and he's stepped up in that role.
Isaiah, there was still a lot of confidence about this team, it seemed like, when you guys came back from the Bahamas and you lost the 3 games. But when you put together a winning streak like this, how does the team feel about itself now? Do you feel different about yourself? Do you feel better about yourself when you start to win games and put together a streak like this?
Yeah, we feel a lot better about ourselves, because when we went to the Bahamas, we were expecting to win it, to be honest. And after we lost the first game, we kind of just depleted our self-confidence. And you saw it in the next 2 games down there. So when we got back, we just got, after our first win, we really got a lot of confidence back. Everybody kind of got their swagger back. Everybody's like, okay, it was just a little bump in the road. We figured out each other's roles. We became a more together team. So, I mean, that really helped us. I feel like the losses in the Bahamas were the best thing that could have happened to us.
Isaiah, you had a really good stretch at the end of last season, like the last 10 to 12 games, and it seems like the last few games, maybe since the Bahamas, you look like that player. You're hustling for loose balls. You're hitting the glass again. Do you feel like a switch has flipped since Bahamas for you personally?
Yeah, because I feel like I wasn't being aggressive enough, trying to. Even though a coach gives you a role, you kind of still try to feel your way around it, see what other people, how it's going to overlap and all that stuff, which is why we kind of we weren't successful in the Bahamas. But ever since then, I kind of just started being more aggressive, and it's helped me and it's helped the team win. So I'm going to continue to do whatever the team needs me to do, rebound, score, defend, whatever.
How do you look at this, Matt, the new conference as far as the competition level? This program's never played in a conference this loaded. Coming from your prior program, you didn't play in a conference this loaded. Do you look at it as a daunting challenge, a good challenge? What's kind of the thought when you kind of look ahead and say, okay, now we play these, I think, next 18 games against really big name schools?
We definitely look at it as a challenge, but we look at it in the light of it's something exciting. It's something that not every college team gets to be able to take on such good teams, and we look forward to proving ourselves. We think that we're a good team, and we know that this is our opportunity to really make a mark and really show that we are. And so we look at the next 18 games as excitement. We're ready to face good teams and show that we're a good team ourselves.
Big East plays here. You talked about how your coaches really looked at the Big East teams in the summer. Does that help you now, or is it kind of back to the drawing board because you're fine-tuning what St. John's, for example, does?
Well, it's not back to the drawing board. It's just a part of the preparation process. To give our staff a little bit more familiarity with the teams that we're going to be, joined at the hip. We wanted to make sure that we knew who they were. And so it just gave us a little bit of a head start, but we prepare for every team in much the same manner. Our scout coach watched a ton of tape. He disseminates what he feels is really important to our team, and then we play the game.
There have been a lot of big moments along the way in this process of joining the Big East. Certainly when you announced it. And now tomorrow, the first game. Is there an excitement that goes with it, Coach, when you do play the first game in the Big East?
Yeah, I think our fan base, I know our players are looking forward to what's going to be a huge challenge, and it's finally here. And, again, we recognize every team in our league that we have to play is a really good team, is a team that has talent, is a team that has a coach that is going to improve his team as the year goes on. It's announced in the summer, and it's finally here, and I think our guys are looking forward to the challenge.
What do you see from D'Angelo Harrison, who's leading them in scoring?
A player that's really under control, that makes good decisions, that's extremely skilled, that's not very tendency-oriented. It's not like, well, he only goes right, or when he goes left, he goes into a pull-up. I see a guy that can do a variety of things and do them at a very, very high level.
In the 5-game winning streak, Coach, what's been the most important thing this team's done well, do you think?
To continue to get better, to continue to improve, to not tie their next performance to their last performance. You're judged by your next game, by your next practice, by your next drill. And I think so far in that 5-game stretch, our players have done a pretty good job of that. Now, in the game itself, I think we've rebounded the ball. I think we've become a better team in the half-court execution-wise, outside maybe the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game the other night. And I think that we're defending at a pretty high level.
What about Isaiah? He seems to be playing really well since the Bahamas, and kind of like he was last year at the end of the year. He's turned it up in practice. So many players, and it's a shame, but so many players, they want a great performance. They want it without the process. And, you can't be just ready for game night and married to the performance. You got to be married to the process. You got to want to get better every day in practice. And what I see in Isaiah is a guy that now wins every wind sprint. It's hard to keep off the offensive glass in practice. And those things carry over. It's not very difficult. When you get to the college level, if you just sort of get through practice, you're not going to play consistently in the games. And I try to make that clear with every player on our team. And it's not just a Xavier thing. It's good players make themselves good because of their practice habits. And guys that are inconsistent, they probably don't have great practice habits from time to time. That seems to be what James really learned from last year this year. What about Kamal? You talked about him struggling with that. Has he improved in that regard at all? He's not playing much.
That switch that Isaiah flipped, was that done by him, or did anybody have to kind of poke him to get him going a little
Well,
bit?
I mean, you have relationships with your players. You want the best for your players. We watch tape. You pull them aside. You try to, engage them, inspire them. Anything you can do to help them reach their potential and help them reach what they want. But again, every player, they want it, but are they willing to go through the process? And it's, you can turn on NFL Network and you can watch, specials on star quarterbacks. And Peyton Manning, I'm sure, doesn't just walk out on the field and say, hey, let me see if I can hit some wide receivers today. The dude studies his playbook. He's probably the first one to practice. You see those stories all the time. And unfortunately, kids that go from maybe high school to college, they don't realize that. And they have coaches that keep beating on them, and it's real simple. The guys that work the hardest usually are the most rewarded. And it's not always the case. It's not instant gratification. You look at a guy like Jason Love, James Farr. Hey, sometimes it takes time. You have to be good for a full year before Santa gives you a Christmas present. And that's what some of our guys have to learn at this level.
Do you look, and I know the coach kind of philosophy is one game at a time, but when you look at the landscape of the Big East, something this program hasn't done before, to play this kind of schedule over the next few months, night after night after night against really good teams, is that daunting to a coach, exciting? What's kind of the emotion as you get ready to dive into this?
A little bit of both. We talked to our players after the Wake Forest game that every game's going to feel like Armageddon, and that's okay. But we can't look back once the game's played, win or lose. There can't be any looking in the rearview mirror. It's all about the next play, the next challenge, and teams that are able to shake off what happened, whether it's a win or a loss, and concentrate on the next game and be focused and be ready to go, are going to give themselves the best chance to win that next game. And maybe that's defining one game at a time for all the people that say that's a coaching cliche.